All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today we have Tim Neumann, the founder of Par 5 Performance. So, Tim, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do and how you founded the company?
Oh, thanks. First, Ethan, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Par 5 Performance started back in 2016. I made a career change and decided to go into the strength and conditioning field. When I made the change, I was introduced to Titleist Performance Institute, learned a lot about how the body affects the golf swing, as well as how passionate golfers are for improvement, whether that be from a performance angle, new clubs, lessons, etc. It doesn't matter the level of golfer, all of them are looking to improve. So that really intrigued me.
Yeah, that's great. And what does your day-to-day look like now once since you've gotten that off the ground? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about my job is the day to day can be very different. So my clients range in age from 10 years old all the way to 80 years old. And as you can imagine, just as wide as that gap is in age, there's a wider gap in a talent level as well. So you're meeting the individual where they're at, performing the assessment, having goal discussions with them, and trying to figure out how you can play a role in improving their overall abilities while keeping them injury free and as safe as possible from a physical perspective. So my day to day really looks like individuals coming to me, going through their programming, talking about what they're working on with their swing coach, making necessary adjustments so that one, physically they feel good and can perform, but also looking at it from a performance standpoint and making sure that what they're trying to accomplish with their swing coach, I can lend a hand in any way that might be.
Gotcha. And from a business owner standpoint, how are you continuing to grow and scale the company every day?
Yeah, so from that perspective, what I'm trying to do is I really have a smaller niche customer base, right? So I primarily focus on golfers. I do have athletes that are outside of that, and just some general fitness clients. But what I'm looking for is more of maybe not as much growth, but finding the right individual to work with. I'm interested in working with individuals that are more performance based, whether that be somebody that's looking for a club championship, somebody that's looking for college scholarships, or anybody that just has a desire to improve their golf swing. That's kind of how I focus my business. I'm very blessed in the fact that I can take on as much business as I'd like, or I can kind of reduce my client intake from there. So it's more focused on finding that right individual that makes my day to day more enjoyable rather than just total dollars or total volume.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's one of the nice things about being in business owner. You get
It
to
sure
pick and
is.
choose what you're doing. You don't have someone else telling you what to do. That's great. Well, being someone in the golf industry, what are some trends that are going on that's affecting the way you do business?
Yeah, so over the past almost 10 years now, I think the biggest shift that I'm seeing, and this has really come into fruition in the last few years, is the use of data. So, many companies might do this behind the scenes. And, when you're to go to your question beforehand regarding growth, I'm seeing that a lot from the performance side. So, as you go through your assessment, you really have to come back to the individual with a lot of data on a smart plan to improve specific numbers tailored to that individual. There is a small barrier to entry in the fitness industry. And so one of the differentiators is the use of data, is the use of specialized equipment. And the
Right.
better you use that data and can speak to it and know how to change it to your benefit, I think the better you'll do as a business.
Right. Yeah, that's so valuable data in all shapes and forms. Have you ever used AI for your data? Is that something you guys are utilizing or no?
To date, I have not used AI. It is something that I'm exploring right now. So
Okay.
my clients kind of fall into two buckets. So it's basically how I write the programming for them. some clients will come visit me and we'll do one-on-one sessions, and I have others that just want professionally written programming. So for the
Okay.
individuals that want that sort of programming, I need to be able to provide them with cues. So as they look
Gotcha.
through that on a day-to-day basis, they know what the intent of the exercise is and maybe some thoughts that they should try and implement while they go through that because I don't have my eyes with them every single
Right.
session.
Right.
Now, I think AI can benefit me in that area because it can standardize the language that I use for them and in you're easily able to digest that language and it makes
Right.
sense to the individuals and I can kind of have that go across a wide spectrum of clients. Additionally, one of the things that is needed in my field, or at least I feel, is continuous education. And so that can come from a lot of different areas. I might be following podcasts that I enjoy from individuals in the field that I respect. You might be reading strength and conditioning journals or journals in the medical science field and trying to take that information and apply it down. Now, there's a lot of information that you can glean out over the course of the month. So you have to be smart with how you manage your time. But I think AI kind of helps in that area where if you
Right.
can take that information, feed it to, whatever resource you use for your AI, and then it can provide you back with summaries that the more you use it, I think you'll be able to identify um, which studies or which podcasts you might want to take a deeper dive into, and then really expand your knowledge that way. Or, maybe better put, which ones that you can kind of push off to the side for now because it doesn't necessarily pertain to the area that you're studying.
Right. Yeah, it's a great tool for research, especially, and it's also a great tool for automating things like you said before, like writing up the programs for your athletes and clients. It's something that can turn your repetitive day-to-day tasks that can feel a little negative or a little like they're slowing you down, and it can automate it and take it off your hands. It's real great. Something I use in my business as well. So again, going back to the business here, where do you guys want to be in the next 6 to 12 months? How are you planning to grow and scale that client basis?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm not necessarily sure I want to grow from a specific client number or from a specific dollar amount. I think my next area of interest is including more technology in what I'm doing. By including more technology, I can potentially attract a wider client base, but I can provide another level of service to my clients. One of the things that I'm really interested in are force plates. So you're going to be measuring different ground reaction forces. Um, I think with that tool, not only can you provide a better training program, you can track data that is not as easily tracked, without it. And you can also too then relate back to the swing coaches. So there's certain exercises or drills that you might be able to perform with those force plates that can help a client feel or actually see what the sort of move that their swing coach has been asking them to do. So, for example, you might look at where you're applying the force in your foot, whether that might be going forward, backward, side to side, where your center of pressure sits, how your mass is moving from one plate to the other. That's something that I'm looking at right now, and now it's a substantial investment from a cost perspective. But again, like I said, within the last few years, technology, I think, is really starting to become more and more prevalent in the industry. So if you want to keep a higher level of training, I think that data and technology are the two things that you're really going to have to be at the forefront of.
Right. Yeah, you're right. With especially in the golf industry with training for golf performance, golf simulators and indoor facilities are becoming a huge thing. If facilities and places don't take advantage of that and implement that into their businesses, they're just going to fall up behind. And I'm sure it's similar for your line of work. If you're not adopting the latest technology and the latest things that are going on, you're going to fall behind from your competitors. I agree. I think that's very valuable.
That's exactly right. A good comparison, so for your typical golfer, they might have a launch monitor that they can put in their golf bag, right? Take it to them with the range, get a little bit of data off of. Then they bring a TrackMan with them, or any of those Q4 stuff like that to the range. They're going to get that data plus.
Right,
That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about in the fitness industry is you had certain levels of data beforehand that continues to grow and grow and grow. And so the more we learn and the more we learn how to implement that, it takes your service level to another place.
right. I gotcha. And off the back of that, what's kind of holding you back from being where you want to be right now? What's a bottleneck for you?
The bottleneck is cost. So, when I talk about that technology, there's a price tag that comes with that. So you have to look at it from, what is my return on investment, basically.
Right,
So not only that, but space, the those would be the two big things that come off of it. How are you going to be able to incorporate that into your day-to-day offerings and make sure that while it is a nice piece of equipment or technology to have in your studio, are you going to be able to use it, or how can you use that in a way that is profitable for you?
right. And what kind of what is your strategy to that? Are you using the new technology as sort of a new marketing strategy, or are you using
Yeah,
how would you
yeah. So
respond to that?
that is one of the things I'm exploring right now is if I were to go that route, how can I get that technology in front of more people? So in the golf industry, if you're a swing coach, um, you know, trainer, etc., you've probably heard it. You've may have even used it once or twice or seen it in application. There's definitely resources that you can go and learn a little bit about how to use it, but having it with you day to day, putting it into practice, how to put it into a practice efficiently and capture what you need to, is kind of where I'm looking at it. How can I make that work? Um, how can I get in front of people so that it draws attention? I think there's a lot of golfers who don't know how much they could benefit from it.
Right,
But I think once they see it, the results would speak for themselves. And, oftentimes it's, at least I feel this way about my own game. When I've been in front of cameras and when I've seen my swing, the what you see versus what you're feeling can feel like two totally different things.
right,
And then once you actually get comfortable with that and what that new feel is, then changes can happen much quicker, which is what everybody's really looking for, right? A change that
right,
happens quickly for the positive.
right. Yeah, it's an amazing tool to analyze your swing and to get some more feedback than you would if you were just hitting balls in the range. I agree. I think it's
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
And you said, one of the factors that's holding you back from implementing that technology right now. What are you doing about that? Are you currently trying to raise funds? Or are you on the look for more clients to kind of fund that expansion?
Yeah, it's more of a more projections for myself. So it's
Okay,
looking to see if I added X amount of clients, how would that work with the client base that I have? How long would it take to get a return on the investment?
right,
Um, One of the things that's interesting too, when you consider technology, is how quickly that moves forward. So I
right,
don't necessarily want to invest in a product that, let's say, 1 to 2 years from now is all of a sudden outdated. So that's
right,
also another concern that I have, where if I if I'm going to choose the right thing, I want to make sure that I choose the right technology at the right time at the right cost. And it's nice to be first to market, but it's also, I want to make sure that I have the right tool that fits my business.
right. Being first is one thing, but being right's another. Doesn't
Sure.
matter if you're first one there, but you got it completely wrong or you overspent, you got the wrong thing. I got you. Well, you know what? That about almost wraps us up there with covering all the things we wanted to cover today. Is there any message you want to leave with the audience that you think would be valuable?
So from just from a fitness perspective, if you have not tried fitness to improve your golf game, I would really recommend that. There's numerous ways that one, you can just feel better day to day. Two, you can improve your golf game. Golf becomes so much easier the more athletic you can be, whether it's distance or just general athleticism, so that the better the athlete, the easier it is to make the adjustments that your swing coach is asking of you. From a business perspective, I think my advice would be if you have an idea for a company, just to take the plunge. I have completely gone down a path that I never, 20 years ago, I never would have thought that I would have been doing this. And I'm so happy that I have. I was a little hesitant at first. But now, 9 years in, looking back, I have zero regrets on the change that I made. I enjoy it day to day. I meet amazing people. I've learned a ton. It's kept me engaged, interested, and it's really fulfilling to be able to work with people and help them with whatever their goals are.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think starting a business is the best decision anyone can make. And some great advice I got from one of the co-founders of Primo Golf that does work with Grant Horvath. I'm sure you've heard. I asked him at the PGA show, I said, as an up-and-coming entrepreneur, what advice would you give me? He said, Nike said it best, just do it. So I just did it, and I will agree with you. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. So, and
For
anyone that
sure.
may be listening that is thinking about starting a business, go ahead and do it. It's the best thing I'll do. One last thing before I let you go here, a little question for you. What would you say to someone like John Daly, who is a natural talent but doesn't really do any fitness? What would you say to someone like him?
So I don't know that I wouldn't change a thing if I were John Daly. So there's always going to be outliers. One of the questions I get asked a lot, right, is when should I specialize? And people will bring up Tiger Woods, or John Daly might be somebody that could potentially fall into that category. And there's always going to be people that are outliers that just, God bless them in a certain way that they're going to be
Right,
able to be excel at whatever they do, right? Then there's going to be others that, um, the more sports you play growing up, the better chances are for you to succeed in the long run.
right.
Specialization isn't everything. I think it becomes appropriate at a certain age. But no, for John Daly, I wouldn't change a thing because I'm not going to tell somebody who's won majors that,
Right,
that they should change anything.
right. Don't fix what's not broken. I gotcha. Well, listen, Tim, I really appreciate having you on. I think this has been amazing. I think you've offered some very valuable expertise into the golf industry and to a different avenue that doesn't get covered very much. And I think you've done a very good job, and I appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks so much for the invitation, Ethan. It was a lot of fun getting to do this.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.